Welcome back to Gentle January, an alternative to becoming unrecognizable that a lot of us are used to at the beginning of January. Today's topic is journaling. Don't click away. Don't move on. If you've already decided that you're not a journal person, journaling is not for you. This is not your typical journaling challenge. We're not going to go deep into it with the prompts. We're actually going to talk about the psychological and scientific benefits of writing things down. So grab your pens, your pencils, your highlighters, and your notebooks so we can get started. Do not worry, this is not a test, and if it was, it would be open note. I have a completely genuine ask. If you are someone who has ever purchased a planner and used it all the way through the year and even maybe engaged with the little stickers and tabs that come in the planner, I'm gonna need you to sound off in the comments. I know that I have at least one of you out there who has done that, who's taken your planner at the beginning of the year and finished the year with it. I cannot even imagine that feeling. I think that I'm the place where planners and notebooks and all things with good intentions kind of go to die. I love a good planner. I love the aesthetics. I love the fun stickers. I love the possibilities. But the reality is I have not completely used a planner all the way through probably since the fourth grade. I was not always this way. I used to write a ton. I wrote a ton of poetry and short stories. Remember, I also grew up with no social media, so this imagination and this yapping had to go somewhere. I'm also someone who took copious amounts of notes in class because I would do anything to avoid the reading. So if the teacher was telling us what was going to be on the test, you better believe that I was taking notes. I entered writing contests, I read my poetry out loud, and I was really proud of the idea of being able to write so much, even if I wasn't very good at it. And honestly, I quit doing all of that because at some point, someone started reading my private journals. After that, I never felt safe keeping a journal, a diary, or any of my written work around, so I just stopped completely. A few years ago, at my very big age, I started writing to-do list, pen to paper. They're not regular to-do lists. They are extremely detailed and they make it very easy to check things off. And I'm so serious. I will put things like eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner on my to-do list because if it's on there and I get to check it off, I'll feel better about it. I think there's some debate whether putting everything on your to-do list is actually more productive, but for me, it is more productive. This year, I'm personally rewriting what it means to keep a journal and how that looks for me, and I wanted to talk about journaling for Gentle January. I'm gonna be honest, there is something about writing something down, pen to paper, that has always felt so much more powerful to me. And now we're living in a day and age where we could take notes on our phone, we can write things down with our computer, we can do voice to text to write down what we are thinking without actually having to pick up a pen. For me, everything from weightlifting goals to journaled thoughts to grocery lists feels a little bit easier to keep track of when I'm writing it down pen to paper. And whenever I think about this actual impact on my goals, there is this quote by Erica Badu that I always think of. Write it down on real paper with a real pencil and real intent and watch it get real. Spelling is a spell. And science actually fully backs that up. We're lucky enough to be living in a day and age where typewriters and computers have been around long enough that these studies have been going on for a while. And according to many of these studies, handwriting activates a broader network in these regions of your brain, which include motor skills, sensory processing, and cognitive processing. This contributes to deeper learning overall, but it can also help with memory and engaging with written text. I also looked up some stuff that said that writing can make you a better reader and vice versa. So they do work together, but they're not the exact same mechanism. Holding a utensil with your hand and connecting it with a sheet of paper or a chalkboard or a dry erase, whatever it is, putting that pen to something and writing involves so many different regions of your brain and the mind-body connection. So while typing is extremely efficient and a lot more automated, it activates fewer networks in the brain, which actually results in more passive cognitive engagement. This means it's not as good at forming memory in your brain. So I knew I was onto something. Regular journaling can also help you with self-awareness, self-confidence, inspiration, and reduce stress and anxiety. Journaling can also help you get to know what your inner voice sounds like. Bringing it back to the to-do lists. You may think a to-do list and journaling are not exactly the same, and they aren't, but a to-do list can also provide you with help with stress and anxiety. According to some other researchers, basically brain dumping and downloading the information, the to-do from your brain onto a sheet of paper can actually help you sleep better. This is because if you're ruminating and you're thinking about all those things, you might be getting more anxious as you're lying in bed, not having any way to be productive. But if you write down a to-do list and know what you're going to do tomorrow or over the next couple of days, it can help you feel more relaxed before bed and fall asleep faster. So how do you get started? If you're someone who struggles with the thought of consistently writing a to-do list or journaling every single day, I have a perfect solution for you. Don't do it. Do you not remember this is called Gentle January? So we are not forcing this. You don't have to start doing something every single day for it to be worthwhile. You can grab something like a more legit journal like this or a spiral notebook, which is actually my preferred way of taking notes. Just like we discussed when we were talking about hydration, another thing that could help you stay motivated is getting something that you enjoy writing in. And you can just start writing things down. You can even write, I don't know what to write down. This is the date. This is what I'm going to do later on. Bye. That's enough. You could write down tasks you want to get completed. You could write down short blurbs about what happened during the day or things you want to remember. You can even write down facts that feel like a given. Putting pen to paper and writing things down is a practice. So that means it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be super refined. I personally admit that it is not easy for me to dive into these super deep emotional journal prompts. I get overwhelmed quickly. And also when I see a prompt, sometimes it feels like an assignment and that it's supposed to be done a certain way with complete sentences, grammatical structure, all of that. And we already know it's not my strong suit. So practicing slowly writing things down can help you get adjusted, help you feel more comfortable without putting pressure on yourself to do these beautiful journal prompts every single day. Another thing that people find helpful, and I've been in classes and courses where they do this, is setting a timer. If you know you have 3 minutes to write something down, even if you have nothing to say, you might be able to come up with a few sentences in 3 minutes and get it done with. It could be, hi, my name is Lauren, I'm a Sagittarius, and I love cats. Yeah. I mean, that pretty much sums me up anyway. We could just put a period at the end of that sentence, I'm done. But if journaling has been hard for you, seriously, maybe you set a timer. I personally recommend doing your journaling before you go to bed as a way to transition from screens onto real paper and then into the dream world. But some people like to journal in the morning, and you can even mix it up. To-do list in the morning, journal at night, or vice versa. Also important to remember that this is yours. So that means your journal can include tons of spelling errors. It can include really bad doodles or graphs, Venn diagrams, whatever you want to put in there, it is yours. It is meant to be a space for you to get what's in your head out onto a sheet of paper. You don't have to read it again. You don't have to ever look at it. You don't have to share it with anybody else. If you made it this far, congratulations. That pretty much wraps it up for today. You can practice your journaling in the comments, but you could also practice on a sheet of paper. I hope this video about journaling sparked a little bit of inspiration, and maybe you'll go dig up an old notebook and start writing things down this year. Okay, love you so much. See you later. Bye.